French officials say a suspected Islamic extremist is in custody along with weapons he planned to use to allegedly attack one or more churches. He's also accused in the death of a young mother. Workers at a former German concentration camp, now a museum, may have to close the door to some visitors. Here's CBS's Frank Sedapani.
Officials in Poland are reporting a sharp increase in visitors to the gruesome World War II Nazi death camp at Auschwitz. Possibly, they say, because of the 70th anniversary of the camp's liberation. Some 250,000 visitors have been to Auschwitz so far this year. That's 40% more than last year at the same time. The Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum says it may have to start turning people away. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
1 million Trek bicycles are being recalled in the U.S. and Canada. A lever on the front wheel can come in contact with the brake assembly, causing a sudden stop. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Overturned truck, freeway construction, rubberneckers slowing everything down. I travel for work. News like that used to ruin my whole day until I discovered Citrix GoToMeeting. With GoToMeeting, you can meet from anywhere using your computer, tablet, or smartphone. No expensive travel required. And with HD video, simply turn on your webcam and it's like being in the same room, which means you can stay productive no matter how bad the traffic gets.
Visit GoToMeeting.com and start our free 30-day trial.
Our experts know tires, enough to expertly install more than 3.5 million last year. That level of service will give you more confidence than ever before, even enough to hand feed a juicy steak to a lion. Now get a $120 mail-in rebate on select tires when you use the Ford Service credit card at the Big Tire event. Ford Service. Go with confidence.
Subject to credit approval. Rebate by prepaid debit card. Other tire manufacturer rebate or offer cannot be combined with Ford Service credit card rebate or offer. See your participating Ford dealer for details through 6/30/15.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires, alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today. Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
And thank you very much, Ken Johnson, this beautiful spring day, April 22nd, 2015. This is Sports Scene Interview Show every Wednesday from 12 to 1 right here on TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. On the radio, 1650 AM, 10,000 watt voice, Hampton Roads. Tell your friends about Sports Scene every Wednesday. This is your home for CBS News. Tell your friends about 1650 on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm at Greg Bick, Sports Highlight, GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com. Just go to my website, gjbtv.com, and you'll see it right there on the homepage. Thank you to our military. Great guest lineup presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, and visit. Sponsors on gjbtv.com like Papa John's and papajohns.com. Guest lineup presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Phone line presented by Fink's Car Care with 2 locations, of course. We've got me, Hogar, Fink's, LoveMyMover.com, Chucho's, Crawl Space, Spaghetti Eddie's, Newport News Creek Festival on for the remainder of this month. And, of course, save the date for the Newport News Creek Festival, May 28th to May 31st. For more, log on to NewportNewsCreekFestival.org. Truly a fun event. Also, congratulations to Herbie Morwitz for playing against Will Perlman in the Dr. Mary V. Bicouvaris Memorial Tennis Tournament last week. Morwitz won 8-4. It'll be showcased on TV in Newport News in the month of May. A lot of great stuff. The NFL schedule's out, NBA playoffs. We've got our business spotlights. Great time to go fishing. The water is finally clear in Hampton Roads, of course. And, of course, it's spring, too. You got to love that. But, of course, the NBA playoffs are hot and heavy. NHL playoffs as well. And, of course, the NFL schedule. You got to be excited, even though it is April. Stay tuned. This is Sports Scene. I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll be back on 1650 after these messages. Mark your calendar for May 28th to May 31st. The Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy Greek food, desserts, beverages, dancing, entertainment, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature event of the year in Hampton Roads. The Greek Festival is located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Spring is back, and so are the Norfolk Tides. Catch the fun and excitement as your Norfolk Tides take the field at beautiful Harbor Park. Bring your friends and family to root on the Orioles of tomorrow today. Log on to NorfolkTides.com for information on season tickets, groups, ticket discounts, and Tides merchandise. Follow the Tides on Twitter and Facebook for updates on promotions and player moves. Tides Baseball, minor leagues, major fun.
Nor'easter season is here, so don't get all wet. Protect your house. Call Crawl Space Door Systems at 363-0005. Reduce your flood insurance, reduce the threat of mold and insects, and save energy. Crawl Space Doors, air vents, flood vents, vent covers, and fans can help you stay dry or get you dry quickly. Contact Crawl Space Doors for more information at 363-0005 or online at crawlspacedores.com. Stay dry, my friends.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
And we are less than 5 months away, believe it or not, folks, from the NFL season, 4 months from preseason, and the NFL schedule is out. You got to love it, of course. The NBA playoffs going on right now, NHL playoffs as well. Well, this gentleman right here I met several years ago, actually at a basketball game that he was doing on the radio at UNC. He's played the NFL for the Cowboys, the Colts, the Eagles. You see him all the time on the NFL Network. Let's welcome Brian Baldinger. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing terrific, and yeah, that was exciting last night. You know, the schedule release, everybody looking in anticipation. Everybody's kind of marking their schedule right now, so it's a fun time with the draft just a week away. I mean, we're everybody's roster is kind of being reset right now, and optimism kind of abounds in most places.
Yeah, I got to thank you too, Brian, because several years ago you joined me when I had Doug Williams on the radio show when he was down here, and of course you're a wonderful broadcaster yourself. But yeah, it is really exciting. This is when the NFL is such a big machine. Feed the Beast 24 Hours NFL Network live showcase last night from 8 o'clock on to talk about the schedule, and the schedule, like always, has got a lot of great early matchups.
Yeah, I mean, you start right away, with Pittsburgh and New England, and, you get the Super Bowl champ and Tom Brady on the field, and, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I always say as an analyst that, whenever you get great quarterback play, as an analyst, just get out of the way. Just let the quarterbacks go duel it out, just like, Brady and Russell Wilson went out in the Super Bowl, and, we were entertained to the max, just 3 months ago. So, I mean, you put Brady and Roethlisberger on the field, and, two great organizations that have, 9 Super Bowls or 10 Super Bowls between the two of them. I think it's just a way to kick off, the entire season.
Because you really got to wonder how many more years both of them will play at full strength, especially Manning. And, it really is a save the date type moment when you talk about those two gentlemen.
Well, I mean, the thing, I was just watching Tom Brady yesterday, and I don't know if he's 37 years old, 38. I don't know. I lose track after a while, but I just went back and watched the Super Bowl game again, and I don't know if he's ever played better than he did in that fourth quarter. I mean, against the league's best defense. I mean, the throws that he made, the decisions that he made, it's as good as he's ever played. And, I just don't see any lack of arm strength from him. I don't see any lack of love of the game. I see the fiery component. He wants to play. That's the only thing he wants to do. Like, he's not looking to transition to do TV or become a coach or, take over, John Elway's spot. He wants to win Super Bowls. And I just don't see anything slowing him down right now.
Right, and of course Manning still does a lot of endorsements, a lot of commercials. You see him on Papa John's all the time. And I want to ask you that too, because you played against a lot of those older quarterbacks when you played in the NFL. You look at Jim Hart, how many years he played for the Cardinals, and of course he played for the Redskins toward the end. Jaworski, Norm Snead from this area played with the Giants up until 1976. He was the bridge 3 years prior to Phil Simms or Steve DeBerg. But you don't see that many quarterbacks like that anymore, other than Manning and Brady.
Well, the thing is, I always say this, like, if Peyton Manning wants to play football, God bless him. Brett Favre said the same thing. He goes, when you hang it up and you put the cleats up for good, that you're still coming back. You get one chance in your life to do it. I mean, who is anybody in the media or any analysts out there to say Peyton Manning should hang it up? I mean, I don't know if, he had the pull thigh muscle. We didn't know about that quad injury last year, but, who was anybody to say and tell anybody when they should retire? Now, sometimes guys hang on too long. We understand that. We've seen that before.
Sure.
And we kind of don't want to watch the decline because we just want to remember the greatness. But, I think Peyton Manning is smart enough to know if he's hanging on or if he still has it. And I feel the same way about Tom Brady. And I know, when those two go at it for each other, we're going to be entertained as much as we possibly can as a nation. I mean, it's our pastime and it's our passion. And so, every era we see the great quarterbacks, Warren Moon, John Elway, Dan Marino. We see them move on. Fortunately, we have the great ones coming up like an Andrew Luck. So we kind of want to watch these guys play at a high level for as long as we can because there's nothing better to watch on a Sunday or Monday night than to watch these great quarterbacks play.
Right, and who is anybody to question, like you said, Manning or his brother, how long they play? They've both won Super Bowls, and both of them have really good records off the field. It's not just, what you do between August and February. It's what you do now, and both those guys take care of their bodies very well, and so much of an off season, too. And to me, that was a big story of the off season is, the whole how will Manning fit in with the new coach, Kubiak, at Denver, and of course, and that we talk about Adrian Peterson and some of the off-the-field issues, but really, there seemed like an undercurrent there with Kubiak and Manning just a little bit.
Well, I mean, I know Gary Kubiak pretty well, and I've talked to a lot of guys that played for him in Baltimore this year, and they raved about him.
Right.
Because as a head coach, he's a head coach in Houston. Like he's got other guys, sometimes calling the plays and doing a lot of the work, but he went back to just being a coordinator and a play caller last year. And I don't know, they had New England on the ropes. They had them down 14. I mean, they outplayed New England that day. The game plan was phenomenal. And the only reason why I'm mentioning all that is Peyton Manning respects Gary Kubiak. I mean, it's not like it's going to be all Gary Kubiak and Peyton, you're going to do this. I mean, it's going to be a collaboration. And they're going to play to each other's strengths. I mean, Kubiak does a lot of things that are innovative in this league, play action pass, zone stretch run, a lot of things that he's known for, and it really helped Baltimore last year. And I think that they're going to play to each other's strengths. I think there's going to be a mutual respect. I know there's a mutual respect, and nobody's going to outwork Peyton.
Sure.
So I'm anxious to watch it, unfold this year.
Right, and of course, it was just a great move, for the Colts and for the Broncos both, with Luck and Manning both moving on, and we'll see how time evolves. Let me get one more thing about the schedule before we talk about the draft a little bit. When you played in the NFL, there weren't as many primetime games. Of course, there was Monday Night Football, but it seems like to me, Brian, that, all these games are pushed toward nighttime, and it seems like the human body is still at its best at 1 o'clock or at 4 o'clock, not at 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night. It's all about TV. It's all about advertising. I understand that about these night games. But I think most players still are a creature of habit and prefer to play at 1 o'clock.
Well, I don't know. I always liked playing Monday night games. I loved it.
You did?
Matter of fact. Sunday night, I wasn't crazy about, hanging around the hotel all day. But
sure.
When the lights went on, we knew it was national TV. Now, you can make the argument about Thursday night. I don't think people are crazy about playing Thursday night. I think they enjoy the 10 days you get after it. But, those 2 games in 4 days are tough, especially later in the season. And so I would say you can make an argument there. But I think if you had to line up to play 16 1 o'clock games, I think players enjoy playing in the spotlight to a large degree. And, even the 4:30 or 4:25 games, on Sundays can be good. If when your schedule comes out and you've got 5 primetime games, you know that your team is in demand and it's they want to be showcased, and there's something about that says we better go live up to that.
Yeah, and of course, the Steelers always seem to be in the primetime showcase no matter what they do the year before because they've got that national brand as well. And you talk about, the draft going along with it. And of course, now in the big news, right, with the schedule coming out, Tebow going to the Eagles. My big thing is, I like the draft so-so, but you know this better than anybody. It still comes down to that 53-man roster. There's a lot of variables that go on between now and the final cut day right after the 4th preseason game.
Well, there are. I mean, there's teams are allowed to keep 90 guys on the roster right now, and but yeah, I mean, there's injuries, there's trades, there's guys do crazy things between now and the start of the season. I mean, these rosters are a long ways from being set. You're trying to figure out what rookies can play and what rookies can't play. So I mean, there's a lot. Now you got all these OTAs, and you've got 7 new head coaches in this league, and so there's new systems and. Anytime that there's a change in coordinators, there's a change in philosophy as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams right now that are undergoing a lot of changes, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time before you can figure it out. I'll never forget when the Giants won their first Super Bowl with Tom Coughlin in 2007. Steve Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator, and that team was a long ways away from being, a finished product, to start that season. So it took about half season to kind of figure everything out.
Mm-hmm. When you look at the offseason now, of course, you're involved in a lot of different businesses outside of football. But, of course, as a team, as a coach, as a players, what are they looking at right now? Is it just the draft? The main focus is just the draft until the draft is over with? Or do you still need that little bit of downtime, or is downtime done now pretty much?
Oh, no, they've had enough time off. In fact, the teams have just gotten into this. The Eagles, for example, just started working out on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
As a team, and teams that have new head coaches been out there for like a week. So, that's right now. I mean, the focus is getting in that building and start team building and working together and all that kind of stuff. And so, but in the back of everybody's minds and every team, the draft is coming up, and so who's the new crop? If you're a veteran player and all you hear about over the last 3 months is how you need an upgrade at your position. I mean, you're taking that personally,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you're Mike Glennon in Tampa, I mean, okay, so Jameis Winston might be the quarterback, or Marcus Mariota, but you're like, all right, are they just going to give this job to him? They're going to let me compete with them? I mean, there's a lot of that goes on where these players are, they're anxious to see, like, who these guys are going to draft, and you can't wait to go compete with some of these guys, and if the team is going to let you compete with them. Because I think Mike Glennon can play. And if I was Mike Glennon and all I heard about was how they need a quarterback, I'd say, all right, I've thrown 29 touchdowns and 14 interceptions in 2 years on the worst team in football. Not like I've stunk up the place. So I think a lot of the players are, they take this draft as a challenge to their careers and to their positions.
Talking to Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. This is Sports Scene right here on the radio live at 1222. 1650, also tunein.com, type in WHKT. Basically, every show now has got a national platform thanks to tunein.com. A couple athletes from this area, of course, Michael Vick, going to be 35 this year. Does he have any future left at even making a roster?
I look, if you said each team has 3 quarterbacks in it.
Sure.
I mean, you basically have 100 quarterbacks. Now,
right.
Mike is one of the top 100 quarterbacks. I mean, there's no question about it. But he wasn't very good as a backup last year. But he can win a game for you. And if my starting quarterback goes down, I don't mind seeing Mike Vick come in there, and try to win a game. And so I think you have to let this draft sort of play itself out,
mm-hmm.
and then examine your roster and go, okay, is Mike Vick a guy that we want to bring in here to learn probably a brand new offense? Can he do it? And can he help us win games? And so sometimes it's just, you're in the sunset and the sun's going down and they just don't pick up the phone and call you. And then some teams go, why wouldn't we bring this guy in and put him in the quarterback room and let him learn our offense and, gives ourselves a chance to win on Sundays. It only takes one team. And so I can still see Mike Vick, certainly having a spot in the NFL this fall. But, maybe not right now. Mike can sit back and kind of wait, see what the injuries are like and how some of these young guys, pan out. And I would expect that Mike Vick will get a phone call at some point.
That, and of course, you look at the offseason with Adrian Peterson, Tebow, Kelly making all kinds of moves with the Eagles, always drama there. The Patriots, can they repeat all the offseason injuries and, of course, concussions and the Hernandez trial, always dramatic offseason. What stood out this offseason for you so far? And, of course, we still have several months left.
Well, I live in Philadelphia, so, watching what Chip Kelly has done,
Sure.
Nobody's run for more yards in the NFL over the last 2 years than Shady McCoy, and so, they traded him. But, DeMarco Murray comes in after one of the greatest seasons of any running back in the history of the NFL, is now, going from one team in the division to another team.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen anything like that type of movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tebow comes, out of a TV studio after being out for 2 years. So I think Chip Kelly is a guy that everybody in the league is watching, because we understand that he basically gained full control of the roster. He's the head coach, the play caller, the general manager, the president. He's taken on a great deal of responsibility, and you've seen him change the roster dramatically. And so I think people are kind of sitting back and going, Chip Kelly for the second year in a row, actually the third year in a row, is story number one in the NFL.
Yeah, which, of course, the NFL draft going to be in Chicago at the auditorium, of course, going away from New York. Your thoughts about that after all these years?
Well, I loved walking down, 6th Avenue and
Sure.
seeing Radio City Music Hall and looking at the fans line up and, line up to get in there was such a charge and energy, on draft night or draft day or Thursday night or Saturday, whenever it was. And it was really special. There's no question about that. But I think that's fair that you move it around. Chicago's a great football market. It's got a great history. One of the great histories of the NFL is in Chicago. It's a great media market. It's a great town. I think that's kind of neat, moving it around like that. I'm anxious to see, how they pull this off. I'm sure, once it all starts, it's all going to be about, the players. But I think there's a certain cachet that moving it to Chicago. I know as an NFL analyst, I love going to Chicago and Soldier Field to do games, regardless of what their team is like. And so, I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Talking to Brian Baldinger up until about 12:30. Thanks for his time, his talent, and his treasure. Of course, you can see him on the NFL Network. Tampa Bay, Tennessee on the clock. And, of course, we've heard a lot about Tennessee trying to get maybe Rivers. Rivers seems like he's comfortable with the Chargers, but that roster has totally been shaken up, and it'll be very interesting to see those top two picks. It seems like the Glazer family is kind of reluctant about Winston. Obviously, so he's had a checkered past. We shall see, though. But, of course, he's got a lot of talent, just like Mariota. But there's still, it'll be dramatic up until draft day.
Well, if you're Tampa or if you're Tennessee, you play the game of poker right now. You listen to everybody. You never know. And when that clock starts ticking, next Thursday night, you never know what a team is going to do and what they're thinking. And sometimes when the clock starts, it really ratchets up the pressure and anticipation. And so, I think you'd be wise if you're Tampa or Tennessee to listen to all the people that may be interested, in having the first pick or a chance to pick their best player or what they deem to be the best player. So I think you have to kind of play it out. And actually, I think the intrigue will be all the way up until the night starts. I see it kind of falling that way right now.
Very good, of course, and you talk about the draft, and of course each team has got their needs. But I'm really going to be looking at the Raiders too, because Del Rio's there, and I finally think they've got a sense of normalcy and consistency, even though they have stadium issues there as well, and the Chargers do too. I'm really curious. Nobody's really talking about it a lot because they're out on the West Coast. How the Raiders will be in 2015.
Well, there's no question. When you're picking at the top of the draft, year in, year out, you should be acquiring good talent. So, Khalil Mack was a top flight talent last year. Derek Carr, certainly looks like he's a guy that you can build with. So we want to see his development. And, they've added some pieces of free agency, and Del Rio is a steadying factor. I think sometimes the second time around for a lot of coaches, it takes a second time to kind of figure things out. I think Jack learned a lot with John Fox and Peyton Manning in Denver. And so I'd be anxious to see, kind of the way he does things now in Oakland. And I think I think he brings a good defensive philosophy. He did from Jacksonville when he was there. I think there'll be a toughness about that team that has been missing. And so this draft is really important to the Raiders. They need to find at least 2, maybe 3 starters that can really upgrade the overall talent of that team.
Brian, go ahead and plug anything you want to, your business ventures. I know you're not too big on to social media, are you?
No, I'm talking to you on a flip phone right now, as a matter of fact. But
that's all right.
You can watch me on NFL, Path to the Draft, NFL Network, all week next week. You can pick up my magazine, Football Stories, the magazine, at any Wawas in the Philadelphia, Baltimore, Delaware Valley. And you can listen to me do games on Fox Television, every week during the NFL season.
Right, you've done a lot of radio as well. You know you like radio a lot.
Yeah, I host a show in Philadelphia, The Fanatic, 97.5 in Philadelphia, and so we just started a brand new 4-hour morning show from 6 to 10, and so I'll be on that this Friday. And we have a lot of great analysts on our station, Brian Dawkins and Ron Jaworski, and so we talk about football every single day, just like you do.
Yeah, very good, my friend. Always the pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
All right, Greg, you got it, man.
Thank you, Brian.
To be with you.
You too, my friend. Brian Baldinger right there, former NFL great, played for the Cowboys, the Colts, the Eagles. You heard him and you see him on the NFL Network. We get great guests right here on Sports Scene, of course, and we'll get to our sponsors as well with Ken Johnson coming up. We got CBS News and a lot more Sports Scene. Stay tuned. 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. All presented by Smoke Barbecue, Restaurant and Bar in Newport News.
And we had that overturned tractor trailer. It's got Tidewater Drive, the exit off of 64 eastbound, closed off until further notice. I'm sure that's going to take a while because, I guess, it's a flipped-over tractor trailer. So that's going to be the biggest issue. 2:30 scheduled opening for the James River Bridge coming up. Partly sunny for the rest of the afternoon, 79 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, 52. And then mostly sunny skies for tomorrow, the high of 66 degrees. CBS News is next. It's 12:31.
CBS News Update. I'm Steve Kathan. A hearing's going on in federal court in Washington about a request from John Hinckley for more time away from a mental hospital. Hinckley shot and wounded President Reagan and 3 others in 1981.
The judge that has been hearing these appeals by Hinckley and his lawyer for years has pretty much always sided with them. I don't know why. He has a really good lawyer.
Reagan daughter Patty Davis says there should be more restrictions on Hinckley, who now gets 17 days a month at his mother's Virginia home. CBS's Major Garrett.
Their arguments are based on what is John Hinckley Jr.'s current mental health, his ability to maintain his medication, and would he have any trouble lapsing?
And the government told the court Hinckley has violated some of the terms of his release and the conditions are not sufficient to protect the public. A decision is not expected in the case right away. CBS News Update. I'm Steve Kathan.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar has 2 locations, 4201 Granby Street in Norfolk and 801 North Battlefield Boulevard in Chesapeake. Call ahead at 640-7705. At Mi Hogar, there is something for everyone.
For over 25 years, people have counted on one name for all their residential and commercial moving needs. A friendly and affordable mover. No job is too big or too small, and they will assist you with your best interest in mind. Always providing free estimates, a friendly and affordable mover is a company you can count on. Have peace of mind on your next move with a friendly and affordable mover. Call 689-0935 or log on to lovemymover.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. Hunt you down, eat you alive. Just like animals, animals like animals.
It's now time for Greg's Highlights presented by Hampton Roads Online Mall.com Marketplace Pages.
Thank you very much, Ken Johnson. Glad you're with us right here on Sports Scene. Hope you enjoyed Brian Baldinger right there from the NFL Network. A lot of good stuff right there about the schedule, about the NFL draft, and so forth and so on. So all that good stuff right there from Brian Baldinger. Of course, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link. I'm going to welcome Smoke Barbecue Restaurant and Bar, Newport News. Go by and see Dylan in the Hilton Village section on Warwick Boulevard, 10900 Warwick Boulevard in Newport News, 595-4320. Go to smokenewportnews.com. That's smokenn.com. See them on Hampton Roads Online Mall.com. Great patio dining, of course, as well. And, of course, a renovated menu, live music on Wednesday and Thursday night, smokenn.com, on Hampton Roads Online Mall.com as well. And, of course, we'll be giving away gift certificates throughout the month right here on Sports Scene. Go by and see Dylan for some great lunch and dinner at Smoke Barbecue Restaurant and Bar, Newport News. And it smells like that smoke feeling the minute you walk in as well. And also, Ken, we want to welcome our next guest. Go ahead and introduce him to us. We got Ron Thompson on right here. Ron, welcome, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Of course, the NFL schedule just came out, but the NBA playoffs, I got to give you a lot of credit here. You're the home of the Wizards, and they're doing what they have to do to be up 2-0.
They really are. I have to give them a lot of credit. They're really defending really well, and I think that's what they're hanging their hat on. And if you're a coach, you've got to be happy. Randy Whitman's got to be ecstatic at the way they've shown that they can win. Anyone can win when offensively everything was flowing well. But I thought in Game 1, they showed that even if you don't shoot the ball well, because they only shot 39% from the floor, that if you scrap, if you work defensively, you always have a chance.
You've seen Ron Thompson on the NBC Sports Network, on Comcast Sports. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. He is the son of the legendary John Thompson as well, the former great Georgetown coach, and the brother of the current Georgetown coach as well. It's 12:35 right here in Virginia Beach. And Ron, you talk about the whole NBA playoffs, of course, and we've seen the Cavs doing their thing. But before we talk about them, the Wizards thing to me is the big thing is offensive, defensive rebounding. How's Nene going to play? And I love college basketball, but to me, Ron, there's nothing like the NBA playoffs. How is Wall going to evolve? How is Beal going to evolve? And that's what it's all about. It seems like this whole series is about the Wizards evolving, trying to get through the series and either play, the next moving on.
You're so right. And if you don't, if you have to not have a pulse, if you can't get excited about NBA basketball this time of year, and when you look at the job I think that the Wizards are doing, they're far more effective when Bradley Beal is aggressive and assertive. And by that I mean he doesn't always have to shoot well from the floor, but when he's aggressively going to the basket, when he's hunting for his shot, it takes so much pressure off the other guys. It enables a guy like Paul Pierce to flourish, a guy like Otto Porter, who, for all intents and purposes, this is his rookie season because he was so injured and banged up his rookie season last year, that it opens up so much for the other guys. And I think you've seen their evolution, and you've seen Bradley Beal starting to realize just a little bit that sometimes being selfish is a good thing. A lot of times guys get criticized for being selfish, but when you have skills and when you are talented and you're not selfish, sometimes it hurts your ball club. And I think with the Wizards, when Bradley Beal is assertive, when he's taking his shots, I really think that he needs to take no less than 15 shots a game. When he's aggressive, this ball club takes a totally different look.
This is Sports Scene talking to Ron Thompson right here about the NBA playoffs. And this is where it's money time now, Ron. You know that. I mean, all these minutes, 48 minutes, you're sweating more. There's more pressure. Substitutions are big. Players coming off the bench. We mentioned rebounding, offense, defense. If you don't play defense during the regular season, you have to. Now you have to step your game up. And you see LeBron, how he gets everybody involved in the game. He's trying to get love, more confidence. And that's what the Wizards need to do, too, because I'm a big Westbrook fan. There's nobody that gives 110% more than Westbrook does for OKC. Right. He's not even in the playoffs. Yet you can feel his intensity all the time. And I want to see that from Beal, Ronnie. I want to see that from him. But you can tell his confidence has been hurt because he's been injured.
Well, what happens a lot of times is it's really hard for someone to change their nature.
Sure.
And naturally, Bradley Beal is not a selfish guy.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest adjustment that he's had to make with this particular team is they need him to be a little selfish for them to be successful. And a guy like LeBron, who's uber talented, he brings, in addition to his talent level, which is through the roof, his basketball IQ is so high. And he breathes confidence into those guys who may be struggling at certain times, and that's something that you have to evolve into. LeBron 5 years ago wasn't and isn't the LeBron that he is now, and that's something that you have to learn. That can be an acquired behavior, and you got to go through it. But I really love what I'm seeing from Cleveland. I think a lot of credit needs to be given to them to have a complete overhaul of a ball club, to have them click from a chemistry standpoint. They're doing a really, really good job this year, and I didn't think that they would be able to do as well as they're doing now from a chemistry standpoint. You know, when you try to mix in LeBron with a Kyrie Irving, and then a guy like Kevin Love and Shumpert, these are all guys that in their own right have had a certain level of success. And when you're able as a coach to get guys to sacrifice and see the bigger picture, that sometimes doing less is more for the team, or sometimes when it's your nature, in Bradley Beal's case, to do less sometimes. Sometimes when you do that, that hurts your team, to get them to change their personalities, I think is a huge plus to what the coaches have been able to do. You know, Randy Whitman this season for the Wizards has taken an awful lot of flack at times, but I think overall he's done a tremendous job given the personnel that the Wizards have. When you look at the Wizards ball club, they only have one primary ball handler. Bradley Beal at times, and he's improving in terms of creating his own shot. But when you look at the Wizards ball club, they don't have a lot of guys that when the clock's winding down that can create their own shot. And that's very difficult from a coaching's perspective, and because it limits you in terms of being creative as a coach, in terms of the kind of plays that you can draw if you have guys that don't naturally or aren't able to create their own shot. And Randy's done a great job at implementing a system that flows very well for their current personnel, I think.
Yeah, have you talked to your brother, too, about, you know, there's a kid on there for the Wizards that played for Georgetown that he's giving the maximum effort. Does your brother see things now with the Wizards that might have helped correct him when he played, you know, in the future, that what he did at Georgetown, that could be a red flag in the NBA? Because, I mean, that, you know, it's a totally different ball game.
It really is, and he's been harping on Otto.
Yeah,
that's my brother, current coach of Georgetown, to be a little more aggressive, to come out of your shell. Otto naturally is like Bradley Beal a little bit, that he does a little bit of everything. He defends, he can score it, but sometimes when you get to that next level, you have to be a little selfish, and he's trying to get Otto to come out of his shell a little bit in terms of being assertive. But you know, Randy Whitman clearly has seen something in Otto as of late. You know, he's been in and out of the lineup all season, but to go with Otto Porter, you know, as heavily as he's relied on him in this series, I think is a testament to Randy Whitman understanding and sensing that this young man is a guy that just wants to win. And when you watch Otto Porter play, you see a guy that's not just hunting for shots. You see a guy that is willing to defend, is willing to rebound, is willing to do a lot of different things that ball clubs need. You know, everybody in the NBA at that level should be able to shoot the ball to a certain degree. But it's hard to get guys to do the little stuff, to set a screen, to dive on the floor, to keep balls alive. And Otto's playing really well right now. And I couldn't be happier for a guy like him, because he's a consummate team player, and he's a guy that doesn't make waves. And there's always a spot like that on a roster at all levels for guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, look at Dr. J and Kareem. They always evolved. I mean, and people don't realize that Tim Duncan, coming up in his 20th year, he's in a series for his life, Ronnie, against the Clippers right now. And that's another team that's going to be looking to evolve and go to the next step. Just like we talked about Porter and Beal evolving as men, the Clippers as a franchise are evolving. They got rid of their jerk owner. They got a good franchise right now. And, of course, they've got to make the next step. There's no excuse for a young Clippers team. If they're ever going to beat the Spurs, it's now.
You're so right about that. When you look at the Clippers, they're so talented 1 through 13.
Sure.
You know, they're one of the most talented teams in the league, but it just goes to show you how important chemistry is. You know, those guys, you know, have been struggling I shouldn't say struggling, but they've been striving for the last 2 years to establish a certain rhythm, to establish a certain cadence. And Doc Rivers is doing a good job, I think, and getting those guys to commit themselves on the defensive end. When the Clippers lock in defensively with all the talent that they have offensively and the depth that they have, they're a tough ball club. And to win this time of season, which is championship time, you know, it's go time right now for everyone that's still playing. There's a certain amount of sacrifice that has to be made, but the commitment on the defensive end, teams that are able to lock in defensively, and that's just not coach speak. It's reality. You've got to be able to defend, and you've got to be able to get stops this time of year.
Yep, we've all seen the Bulls, Wizards, and Cavs moving along. Ronnie, we'll get you on deeper as the playoffs go on. We really appreciate your time here at the last minute, and we look forward to talking to you. It was a pleasure working with you a few months ago as well, and you're a great analyst, and thanks for all that you do on TV talking about the Wizards and sports in general.
Thanks a lot. Whenever you need me, just give me a buzz.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great afternoon. Okay,
Take care.
Thank you. That was Ron Thompson right there, the son of the legendary former Georgetown coach, John Thompson. His brother is the current coach of Georgetown, talking the NBA playoffs. We've had superstar guests right here like no other radio or TV station in Hampton Roads can get. We get them right here on Sports Scene. Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network. You haven't heard him on any other radio station. Ronnie Thompson, we had him on the game. When I worked at the game, Ken, I said we were the only decent show at the game. Now, there were other shows at the game, Ken, but they didn't last that long.
Yeah, well, and considering all those other shows, I don't know if you should say that too loudly. It's kind of like being the tallest dwarf. I'm kidding.
Exactly.
No, but you had a great show there. You got a great show here.
Right, and sometimes 3 hours is better than 4, right, Kenny?
Yes.
All right, and
sometimes
of course,
less is more.
Don't forget, of course, we got a lot coming up. Sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Great guests presented by MiCasitaMexican.com and Blue Cafe, GJBTV.com. Hit the YouTube link. Ken, we'll take a short break. Come back after these messages. This is Sports Scene. Mark your calendar for May 28th to May 31st. The Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy Greek food, desserts, beverages, dancing, entertainment, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature event of the year in Hampton Roads. The Greek Festival is located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Spring is back, and so are the Norfolk Tides. Catch the fun and excitement as your Norfolk Tides take the field at beautiful Harbor Park. Bring your friends and family to root on the Orioles of tomorrow today. Log on to NorfolkTides.com for information on season tickets, groups, ticket discounts, and Tides merchandise. Follow the Tides on Twitter and Facebook for updates on promotions and player moves. Tides Baseball, minor leagues, major fun.
The place on the peninsula for traditional home-style Mexican food is Chucho's in Oyster Point. Cinco de Mayo is right around the corner, and everybody's looking forward to indulging in fajitas, burritos, seafood dishes, and the best tacos around. Chucho's has all the Mexican favorites. It's a dining destination. Visit them at 605 Pilot House Drive in Newport News in the Oyster Point section for a delicious lunch and dinner. Folks, you gotta try it. Experience the flavor of Chucho's today.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Ken, what are you doing to me? Oh my, it's not till October. You're playing Halloween music here.
It's so hot, I wanted to cool off and give a chilling sort of introduction.
Probably the scariest score I've ever heard in my life, this in the Amityville Horror when I was a kid, was the Halloween music. What is it about this music that, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's Halloween or not, it just gets to people?
And the funny thing is, John Carpenter, the director of the original Halloween, also wrote this music, and he said he wrote it in like maybe 5 minutes. I mean, and sat down and just performed it and recorded it, but it's stuck in our minds, and it is one of those, ooh, you know exactly what it is, and it puts you on edge right away.
There's not many scores that you know what it is, when it is, and there's no words. It's just music in the background. What are some of your scariest music movies that you've seen as far as horror concerned? You love the movie business.
Oh, yeah. Some really great movies. Sometimes you don't even care about the music. There's a lot of movies that are just scary. They don't need the music. But one that really, really brought into the mind, and you know what it is as soon as you hear it. Bernard Herrmann did a lot of movies with Alfred Hitchcock, and most of his music was very lush, full of strings, very beautiful music. But then there are some scenes in one Hitchcock movie where you know what is happening.
Wow.
Kind of makes you want to avoid the shower, doesn't it?
Is that what happens in the morning here?
No, that's even scarier, even more disturbing than that. And, there were some other pieces of music, too. Let's see if you recognize this one. This is an old one, but...
Wow. It's all yours, Kenny.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Nice.
Universal.
Yeah, that was a good one.
For that build-up of music and... That was kind of typical of a lot of the 50s horror movies from Universal Pictures. But not all the horror movies had bad music. Some of them were actually very beautiful. This is Swan Lake, which is a ballet.
Yeah.
This music. But if you're a horror aficionado, you know. It's the opening music to 1931 Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
I know, whatever a lot of the sports teams will be thinking about this music when they select the wrong player. They'll have this music in the background.
What the heck's going on, Mars? You listen to some kind of opera there or something?
All right, Kenny. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Of course, yeah, Ken always doing a great job right there with the score here, producing. We work together at several places here and another radio station as well. And, of course, we try to add it up, folks. We don't just talk about who wins or loses. We try to cater to the entire audience, men, women, young, old, senior citizens. It's all fun right here on Sports Scene, live on the radio. Hope you enjoyed Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network, Ron Thompson talking NBA playoffs, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. Ken, who have we got here?
We've got Jennifer.
Very good. Jennifer Duff, how are you from Lynn Haven Fishing Pier?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
And if you go to gjbtv.com, go to the Marketplace sponsors, Jennifer, we fixed your link, so just click your image, goes right to your brand new website.
Awesome.
Very good. It's almost that time of the year again. You've been a regular of mine on radio for several years now. I know people are looking forward to fishing once again this spring, summer, and fall.
Yes, we're looking forward to opening. We'll be opening Friday, May the 1st at 4 p.m.
Very good. Let's talk about your place. Where are you located at?
We're at 2350 Starfish Road in Virginia Beach, about a quarter-mile east of the Lesnar Bridge. And we're right on the water.
Very good. All right. And what do you expect this time of the year people to be catching? Because I know it's different as the summer evolves. It's different what people will be catching.
Yeah, what we catch changes throughout the season. It's hard to predict what we're going to start out with. Used to be easy to predict until the weather got real screwy the last couple of years. More than likely, it will be croaker, bluefish, possibly some roundhead, but that's more than likely what we're going to start out with. If we're really lucky, we may actually get some drum if the water's still cool enough. But we won't know until we open what we're going to get.
Very good. Talking to Jennifer Duff from Lynn Haven Fishing Pier right there off of Shore Drive, a beautiful place. And it's one of the most beautiful scenic places in the entire Hampton Roads. And, and of course you've got something for everyone there, and it's free parking.
Oh, yes.
Well, talk about you can talk about something for everyone. Talk about your hours, too, as well.
We are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all summer long until we close, which is usually sometime in October.
All right, give us a start date. When can people get there again?
May 1st, Friday, May 1st, we open at 4 p.m.
Very good. We look forward to it. Lynn Haven Fishing Pier. You can see the link on gjbtv.com. Go to the Marketplace sponsors. Jennifer, we're looking forward to talking to you all summer long. May 1st, mark it down, save the date. The place to fish is Lynn Haven Fishing Pier. They've got no piers, no pun intended, Jennifer, in Hampton Roads. Right? You've got no challengers. That's the best place for a kid who grew up here. That is the #1 fishing pier around.
He's here all week. Try the fish.
Yes. And fish is good to eat, too, Kenny. Thanks a lot, Jennifer.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And, Ken, speaking of fish, a good thing to put on fish is a little olive oil from our good friends at Laconico, who are all over the Norfolk Greek Festival coming up in one of the best cities around in Norfolk. Let's welcome Dino Pierrakos. Dino Tikanis, how are you, my friend? Dino. Looks like we lost Dino. Ken will try to get him back on the line right here. Of course, he had too much olive oil on his fish right there, of course. But we want to talk about what's coming up with the Greek festivals coming up. Looking forward to that as well. And, of course, fishing this time of the year. And our good friends at Smoke Barbecue and Newport News who present all this for us as well. And all of our great sponsors, too. But, of course, go by and see Dylan at Smoke Barbecue Restaurant and Bar in Newport News at 10900 Warwick Boulevard in the Hilton section. And give them a call at 595-4320. That's SmokeNN.com. You can see it on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. That's HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Very good. And Ken, let's get to what teased me off here whenever you get a chance. Hey, you got it with all that horror music, Ken.
What tees you off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
Ken, a lot of things tee me off as well, but of course, radio or TV or actors who use stage names, be proud of your name.
Yeah, well, sometimes if you're in SAG-AFTRA, or if you're an actor's equity, you have to change your name. If your name is identical to somebody else who's already in it, you have to change your name, add a middle initial to it. That's why I'm Ken M. Johnson, because there's a Kenneth M. Johnson already in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not always a case of their choice. But if you've got a name like Stanley Yaxless, you kind of have to change it to Jim Stanley.
Yeah. All right. And, of course, a lot of things tee me off as well. We'll get to our guest here, Dino Pierrakos, we hope in just a few moments from Laconical Oil. And, of course, we hope to get him on here in just a few moments. Ken, is that him right there? We're doing a live show here, Kenny. We got to know. All right. Other things that tee me off. When there are over 5 people in a checkout lane, you have to ask to open another lane. Customers that ask a million questions while others are in a line. Hourly wage employees complaining to media about pay raises. Ken, we got our guest on.
Yeah, Dino's back.
Dino, how are you, my friend?
A little messy.
Dino. Ken, is Dino there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Dino, my God, are you in Greece? Where are you, Dino?
I'm on the road making deliveries.
Dino, you should never use the phone while you're driving, my friend. Oh, my goodness. Ken, what teased me off is the guest Dino here. Dino, what are you doing, Dino? It's a live interview. Dino.
He's a working man. He's busy.
Oh, my goodness. Anyway.
He's a good American. He's making
right.
a buck.
All right, Dino, we got the Norfolk Greek Festival coming up. We got Laconical Oil. Let's talk about it.
Yes. This is my family's international award-winning olive oil. I want to announce and let everybody know that we received the gold medal in the largest international olive oil competition last week. So we're going to be in the Greek Festival in May 14th and 17th. Presenting and providing our olive oil to everyone.
Yep, and of course, look forward to that. Laconical.com. You can see his link on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com as well. Good olive oil. You can pretty much add it on anything, correct, Dino?
That's right. You use it everything, cooking, as well as making some pretty amazing desserts.
Very good, of course. We look forward to the Norfolk Greek Festival coming up, and that's going to be a lot of fun for everyone. Dino will be there in his booth, a lot of vendors there, and really good food and Greek music, and, of course, wine is all part of the Greek culture, and, of course, olive oil adds to life.
That's right.
Okay, Dino, thank you, my friend. We're having a little bit of a bad connection, but we look forward to talking to you soon. Very good, Ken. Thank him as well, and we look forward to talking to him soon. Back to what teased me off, Ken, as well. Hourly wage employees complaining to the media about their pay raises.
Unbelievable. One of the talk show hosts, and I forgot who, it might have been Glenn Beck on this station, but somebody made a really good point that if they went through with that $15 an hour pay raise, they would be making more than many of the owners of the company, many scientists, researchers. It's just insane. And if you do get that pay raise, guess what? The price of hamburgers go up to $12, $15, and you can't afford them anymore. Your business, come on, people. It's. I know who's behind it. I don't know if I can say it or not, but the unions are behind it. They're trying to get more people in because they're losing membership.
And you can't complain, but then your taxes are going to go up. They're going to complain, well, too much taxes out of my paycheck. Well, we all have to pay taxes, whether it's quarterly or the end of the year, whatever. We got to pay them.
Yeah.
Real quick, Ken. Sunday strollers in the left lane of roads or interstates, really during weekday or weekend traffic, keep moving. Housing is all good, the American dream, Ken. But when you see 10 college kids crammed into a nice neighborhood, that's not the American dream.
No, that's not. And you see a lot of that around the colleges.
Speaking of bottles that are open to very difficult to open as well, you talk about these large bottles that you need like Mighty Man or Superman just to open up the cap.
So many things, especially those things that are wrapped in that super plastic. Why didn't they wrap the space shuttle in that plastic? They'd have never had a problem with it.
Ken, we all shouldn't speed, but especially when you see a handicapped driver sign, that doesn't look good. That just doesn't look good.
No.
Why are you even driving in the first place? Ken, when the police use the word subject, I'm sorry, use a little bit better word than subject. None of us are subjects. We're human beings.
Yeah, it's usually because the verb or the verbiage is the subject of the investigation. It's meaning no male, female, age group. It's just kind of, I guess, genericizing the person.
Right. And, of course, leftovers. Who likes leftovers?
Well, I do.
I know you do.
Some stuff, like my wife's chili.
Good stuff?
Oh, dude. Bacon-based chili. Oh,
but how many days later, though? 1 day or two?
As long as it lasts, which usually isn't too often. Or too long. It doesn't stick around long.
Remember, this is What Teased Me Off, presented by Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com. That wacko Hughes going in a gyrocopter? Really? Are you some nut?
Well, he got what he wanted. He got attention, but good grief, dropping in on the White House like that, or the Capitol? That's ridiculous.
Construction zone hours, Ken, they never seem to be right. Unclean pools or jacuzzis. And people that protest or litter, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win.
No, you're going to get attention, but that's it. You're not going to change anything.
I want to thank our guests as well. Great guest lineup today. Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network. Ron Thompson talking about the NBA playoffs. He's with Comcast and, of course, NBC Sports Network. Dino Pierrakos, Jennifer Duff as well. Ken, thanks for your movie contribution. Don't forget gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows of Sports Scene, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Happy Wednesday. We'll talk to you soon.
AM 1650 WHKT Portsmouth, 1 o'clock.